One of the things that's changed on a lot of wheat farms around the world is many wheat farmers are now using pre-emerge herbicides. It's really important to have great weed control early in the season in wheat, just like it is in corn. So today we'll talk about some of those wheat pre-emerge options.
The cool thing I think about wheat is that you're going to get crop canopy earlier than with many other crops that you're raising. And if we can do a great job early in the season and get that wheat off to a great start where it has a perfect stand, our weed control is so much easier later in the season. And many of the harmful weeds that we're trying to stop, like wild oats or downy brome, a lot of them are coming up about the same time the wheat is. So it makes sense that our toughest weeds to fight are germinating about the same time the wheat is. Why not use a pre-emerge herbicide?
All right, we've got two different categories here. There's grass and there's broadleaves. Let's start with the broadleaf side because that's pretty easy. You really have two basic options. The best for broadleaves is going to be Sharpen. Now Sharpen is a little bit expensive. A couple ounces is going to cost you somewhere around 10 bucks an acre. I wish that price was a little bit cheaper, but it is what it is. It's an excellent product with great burn down, good residual, and it has activity on a lot of different broadleaf weeds. So Sharpen's the absolute way to go if you say, oh man, broadleaves are a major problem for me. Like kochia, for example. We talk to a lot of wheat producers in the western United States, and they say, I'm having a struggle with my kochia. Not too tough, use Sharpen down. You've got good post-emerge options like Starring, for example. All right, so the other broadleaf product that we talk about down would be Prepare. Well, wait a second. Prepare has grass control and broadleaf control. So why am I saying broadleaves? Well, I look at this Prepare. It's an ALS herbicide. It's similar chemistry, or really the same chemistry as Everest 2.0 post-emerge. But it actually has good activity on a lot of different winter annuals. And yeah, it might not be as good as Sharpen, but it's much less expensive, and it is going to give you at least some control early, so then post-emerge, your post-herbicide doesn't have to do as much work.
All right, now with Sharpen, that's a PPO family product. So it's something different that you're not normally using in your wheat program. I like that a lot. Get a different site of action out there. And you know, like we talk about with Prepare grass and broadleaf control, with Sharpen, just broadleaf control. The other mistake I see a lot of guys have, or assumption that I see guys have with Sharpen, is they see what kind of burn down product it is and they're like, wow, that's the best burn down product I've ever used. Hold on, it's got residual. It's going to keep working out there for you for a while too.
All right, so let's talk about this grass side. We mentioned Prepare already. Yep, it's got some activity on broadleaves. It actually has a little bit better activity on grass. It is going to help you, at least, with wild oats. Definitely going to help you with downy brome. A lot of different grass species, foxtails for example, it's going to have some activity. Just don't expect perfect control. What a lot of people are doing, if they've got lower pHs, let's say you got 6 pH or less, they're using the full rate of 0.3 ounces per acre. People with high pHs, over 7 and especially over 7.5, we've seen a lot of those guys cut the rate back to 0.2 ounces just because Prepare has better activity in high pH soils and they can get similar control for less money. So you're talking in the range of $3 to $6 an acre, something like that, depending on your rate.
We're also seeing some guys use Olympus, which is another ALS herbicide at a relatively low rate as a pre-emerge herbicide. And we're getting some good control out of that, especially on downy brome. And when we think about that downy brome, it's tough to get post-emerge, and you've really got to do it in the fall if you want the best job possible. Now, sometimes we're out there planting, we don't see any downy brome up yet, and in a lot of those cases, if you can't get a good Roundup burn down on it, you say, you know what, I gotta have something pre because I know it's gonna pop up as soon as we get some rain. Olympus is one of the things guys are turning to.
Well, it's not just Olympus. It's Olympus, Outrider, and PowerFlex. Those are the three good downy brome products that need to be used in the fall. With all three of them, I like them post-emerge rather than pre-emerge, but you know, you could use them pre-emerge if you wanted to. I prefer to use them post because you get a little bit more bang for the buck. Now, there is a new chemistry that's out in wheat. In corn, you're probably very familiar with Harness, Surpass, Outlook, Dual, and the product Zidua is in that same group. Zidua can be used in corn. It can be used in soybeans. Well, it can now also be used in wheat. So just check the label in your area for the timing on when to use that Zidua. But all we can tell you is, hey, if you've got ALS resistant weeds, if you have ACCase resistant weeds, maybe going to Zidua, which is a group 15, would be a pretty good option.
Hey, we didn't talk about Varro, Brian, and that's one that has some residual too for some grasses. We're seeing a lot of guys, instead of just using Varro, they're using something like Husky Complete where they get that chemistry in there. We've used this thiocarbazone methyl active ingredient before. We use it in other crops like corn, for example, and that's been a nice product for some grass control also.
Yep, but it is an ALS just like what Prepare would be, and Prepare is a little bit less expensive. So I guess the main thing that we wanted to stress to you today is there are good options. If you've got broadleaf problems, grass problems, get them under control really early. Thin that population out. It's going to make it a lot easier for you to control your weeds post-emerge, and it's going to make it a lot easier for you to get top yields.
We talked about a lot of products here, but do any of them control our weed of the week? We'll show you coming up later in the show.